Hello guys, Croft is here. Today I'll cover one of the most horrifying deleted scenes from Avatar of 2009 in which Jake takes Tsutey's life. And there is a good reason why the scene of Jake killing Tsutey was deleted, since it is extremely brutal and hard to watch. But it actually gets even worse and more gut-wrenching in the script. In the theatrical cut, Tsutey simply falls from the Valkerey ship, presumably to the death. However, in the Blu-ray, he actually survives due to Na'vi having extremely thick bones. But that would have been a painless death compared to what happens to him in the script, where Lyle Wainflet horribly mutilates Tsutey. And if that wasn't bad enough, in the Blu-ray deleted scene, Jake then finishes off Neytiri's ex-fiancée, officially taking his clan leader position. And there is a particular and horrifying reason Tsutey himself asked Jake to end his life. So let's cover the entire story of Tsutey's death that was deleted from the movie. And let's start with the script where Tsutey falls from the Valkyrie ship. Tsutey is racked by a burst from the dorsal gunners. His mount crumples, plummeting with a dying scream, and we spiral down with him. The forest rushing up and a blind blizzard of green as he tears down, catching at leaves and vines. He slams to the ground, badly injured. A few pages later, Tsutey lies gasping, mortally injured. He looks up, grimacing as an imp suit looms over him. Lyle Wainflet reaches down and grabs Tsutey by his queue, lifting him painfully. Then Wainflet says, "I hear this is worse than death for you, Chief." And then Wainflet cuts Tsutey's queue off near the base. Tsutey screams in agony, his nervous system exploding in overload. Grinning, Wainflet holds up the queue, Tsutey's only connection to the world consciousness, which is his life. This scene is absolutely brutal and shocking, and even reading it was gut-wrenching. Na'vi neural queue is a unique biological concept that I don't think I've ever seen anywhere else. The queue is an essential part of their bodies, and without it, Na'vi cannot ride animals, connect with Pandora's deity Awa, and even mate, as shown in another deleted scene. Therefore, losing the neural queue is one of the worst things that could happen to a Na'vi, even worse than death, as mentioned in the script, which just gives a much bigger context as to why Tsutey did not want to live anymore. Lyle Wainflet was already one of the most disliked characters in this movie, but what he did to Tsutey makes him almost as bad as Quaritch. So let's review the Tsutey's death deleted scene, which can be viewed on the collector's edition Blu-ray, but the script version of that scene is even longer and has a few extra lines that are pretty important. The fact that Jake is the one who ended Tsutey's life is kind of brutal, but also symbolic, and is ultimately required for Jake to become the clan leader. Neytiri is also right there when Jake kills Tsutey, serving as a reminder that the trio had a love triangle in the movie that ended tragically. Initially, Tsutey was the man Neytiri was expected to be with, her intended lifelong mate. But Jake, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. A literal alien, a sky person, someone Neytiri initially viewed with distrust and even disgust. Eventually Jake grew into someone Neytiri respected, then cared for, and she ultimately chose him as her lifelong mate. And they sealed their bond under the Tree of Voices, so her choice could not be undone. This shift didn't just unsettle Neytiri, it completely destabilized Tsutey's entire sense of purpose. This crisis became even worse the next morning when he discovered that his fiancée had chosen someone he completely despised. On top of that, Jake had also confessed that he essentially betrayed them. He revealed that he was initially sent on behalf of the colonizers to gain the Na'vi's trust and convince them to leave their home tree. So from Tsutey's perspective, he couldn't create someone worse than Jake. An alien who betrays his clan, bonds with his fiancée Neytiri, and is at least partially responsible for the destruction of the home tree. Tsutey and Jake eventually reconcile and fight side by side as brothers, but it's still deeply twisted that Jake is the one who ends Tsutey's life. So with all that in mind, let's actually look at the deleted scene and go through the translated lines from the script. After the battle for the Tree of Souls is over, we're cut to injured Tsutey. Moat tends to mortally wounded Tsutey as Avatar Jake arrives with Neytiri. Mowat has bound his wounds, but by her expression it is clear that he cannot be saved. Even though cutting off Tsutey's neural queue was completely removed from the movie, if we zoom in on a couple of frames we can see that Tsutey's queue is missing. Then Jake kneels and Tsutey opens his eyes. Through a haze of pain he recognizes Jake. Then their dialogue continues in Na'vi language, but we get a full translation in the script. Tsutey says, "I see you, Jake Sully." Then Jake responds, "I see you, Tsutey Durangola Teatan." Tsutey asks, "Are the people safe?" and Jake responds, "They're safe." Then Tsutey weakly clutches his severed queue. He says, "I can never ride again or bond with my woman or hear the voice of Awa. I cannot lead the people, you will lead them, Jake Sully." Jake responds, "I'm not officer material," but Tsutey insists, "It is decided, now do the duty of Olayektan, set my spirit free." Jake says, "I'm not killing you," but Tsutey responds, "I'm already dead." He says, "It is the way, and it is good, I will be remembered." Tsutey's voice is weak but thick with emotion. He says, "I fought with Turuk Makto, we were brothers, and he was my last shadow." Tsutey's hand clasps with Jake in a fierce grip, and Jake draws his knife. Then Jake leans forward, blocking the sun, and his shadow falls across Tsutey. Jake says, "Forgive me, my brother, now go to the Mother Spirit." And by his movement we know that he has ended Tsutey's pain. Jake's eyes well with tears as he continues reciting the prayer for the dead. This extended deleted scene is probably one of the saddest scenes in the entire movie for me, but it explains the fatal injury that Tsutey had, definitely giving more explanation to the reason he asked Jake to kill him. CGI shots in that scene are also one of the best in the entire movie, as we can almost see every single drop on Jake's head and Neytiri's tears. However, this scene is also really important because officially Jake has to kill the previous clan leader to become one. After Yutan died, Tsutey became the clan leader Olayektan, which is why Jake had to ask his permission to speak when he arrived to the Well of Souls on Leonopteryx. However, even if Tsutey somehow managed to overcome his injuries, he would not be able to fulfill his duties as a clan leader, because as he said, losing the neural queue radically disabled him. So this deleted scene not only gives Tsutey an honorable death, but it also shows that the title of the clan leader officially passes down to Jake. Thank you guys for watching, but what do you think? Do you think they should have kept this scene in the movie, or do you think it's just too brutal for the general audience? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to join the Patreon for extra support. Also, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more content. My name is Croft, and I'll see you in the next video.